I'm Bobby J. Welcome back to the channel. I recently uploaded a video all about the 2025 Ram HD and the new ZF Powerline 8-speed automatic that's coming out for the 2025 truck to replace the two previous automatics. Now, that video turned out to be pretty darn popular, but something that I never expected was the amazing support for the manual transmissions. Guys wanting to talk about the manual transmissions. Comments like, so that leads into the next question. Would Ram be successful in selling a manual transmission in a 2025 Ram HD? Absolutely. Now Ram, if you're paying attention, you follow these steps, I guarantee it will be a success. We're going to cover two things in this video. One, the history of the G56 and the NV5600, specifically the G56, as it was the last manual transmission model to be found in a Ram, why it failed, and you'll be surprised on why you think you know it's not exactly what you think of why that transmission failed. And the second thing, of course, more importantly, what transmission they would have to use to make it a total sales killer. Got ourselves a 2004 with a 5600 in it and a common rail. Quite the setup. This was the ideal setup back in the day when it's new, and it's still the ideal setup today on the used market, and trucks with the 5600 or G56 go for a premium over their automatic counterparts. So the question is, why is that? Well, we know that, right? We know they tow better, they're more reliable, better fuel mileage, all those things. So what happened? How did we go from everybody wanting the stick Dodges to 2019 in the 5th gen and the stick is gone? Well, that's what we're going to cover here on part one of this video. Now, what you're going to think, or what you're probably thinking, I should say, is that the reason why there was no stick transmission available in a 5th gen after 2018 is because nobody wanted to drive stick anymore. Well, that is a little bit correct. I mean, sure, as time's gone by, the automatics have gotten better. People don't want to drive stick nearly as much, but that is not why. That is not the sole reason why these trucks lost the stick shift. The reason is because they quit putting the R&D in it for whatever reason. The automatics kept getting better and better. You go back to this era right here, we're talking about a 48 RE is what this truck's got to compare to as far as the 5600, NV5600. No brainer. Better transmission, stouter, stronger. If you're not racing on the quarter-mile track, this is the transmission to have. 4-speed automatic with a converter that never even locks until 3rd gear. This is the setup, right? Now, the 68 comes out, we're getting better. You know, now we got a 6-speed box, we got lockup that works better in those transmissions. And at that point, that's when we start to see a change. You know, late 3rd gen, 6, 7 Dodges, and we see the power start to differentiate, right? We see power increase behind the 68 RFE. We see power not increasing in front of the G56. And we really see that then in the 4th gen era. When they get into the 4th gens, they come out with the HO, with the ASIN. Finally, now the AS69RC is available. And so we've got the AS69s and the HOs and the chassis cab trucks. We've got the 68 and the SO trucks. And we got the lonely little G56 that has a lower power number, right? And So why is that? Well, I can tell you one thing is my recollection is there was some issues with clutch issues. You know, they had that dual mass flywheel or whatever. And why did they go to that dual mass flywheel where there's a single mass flywheel in the 5600 trucks? Well, one thing is the G56 is susceptible or notorious for gear rollover. It's a noisy transmission, and the dual mass flywheel helps to quiet it down. So like I said, there was issues with clutches trying to up the power. We know that the G56 was a tough transmission. Breaking the cases and stuff you hear about that has more to do with high horsepower than anything else. G56 is a stout unit, and that's been proven. Guys with 5500 Dodges with the G56 pulling some pretty serious weight on a daily basis, and they've been good transmissions with a good clutch in front of even dual discs or whatnot, solving the clutch issue. But yeah, we see this gain on the automatics keep creeping up in power. You know, 800 foot-pounds, 850 foot-pounds, HO trucks, 900 foot-pounds, and the lonely little G56 is staying in that, what, 610 to maybe 650, I think is where it stopped. So, you know, you're at the dealer a lot and you're looking at two identical trucks, or you're going to order a truck, and you got the two choices. At that point, in the later fortune, we're talking 15, 16, 17, 18 being the last year, you got to be a serious die-hard stick shift guy to order the 650 foot-pound torque G56 over an HO Dodge with the ASIN. Because here's the other thing, it's not just that power number, it's ratios. Okay, we've got double overdrive in the 68 RFE, we've got double overdrive in the ASIN, right? And here is something on the internet that is it's amazing how many people have this confused. Okay, a 5-speed stick and a 6-speed stick. A 6-speed stick is not double overdrive. A 6-speed stick is just like 4 and 5 in a 5-speed. You've got direct drive in 5th gear, and you've got overdrive in 6th gear. And even the early G56 is behind the 5.9. They were geared a little bit low for whatever reason, and they fixed that with the 6.7 G56. So now you've got a transmission with inferior gearing at a modern days standards with double overdrives and stuff. We're talking about, you know, trying to maximize fuel economy. We've got emissions regulations, all this stuff that the manufacturers are trying to meet. The G56 was definitely outdated. And that, my friend, that is the demise of the stick shift in the Dodge, is the lack of R&D. They gave up on it, and I don't know why. I really don't know why. So many guys, me, myself, you know, love the stick shift Dodges, and there's still great potential there, which is going to lead into our next part, is, most importantly, what's Ram have to do to come out with a competing stick shift, bring us a new setup? Well, we're going to dive into that right now. So then the question is yeah, you know, why did they quit putting the R&D into the stick shift transmissions? Well, like I say, I don't think it's because people didn't want to drive them anymore. People didn't buy them because they fell behind. So what would it take for Ram to get a modern transmission? See, that is the detail. Guys saying, bring back the G56 or the 5600, you know, the lovers of the NV 5600. Gentlemen, those transmissions are gone. They're outdated. They're not modern anymore. While they're fantastic gearboxes, they can't compete with today's automatics. There's no question they cannot compete with the automatics there, especially this new Powerline 8-speed. There's no way. So a competing stick shift that people want to buy, it has to have a couple of things. One, gear ratios that make sense. Double overdrive, like the automatics. Smooth shifting, that's important too. The third thing, and which is probably the most important thing, is power output. You got to put it behind the HO Cummins. That's what it's got to be. It's got to be advertised as a stout unit, not something like the days of, well, you got the 68 RFE and we got the, the G56, and then here's the ASIN up here, right, with the HO. Now, it's got to run with the HO Cummins. So, if you did that, okay, you'd have the diehard Dodge guys, they'll order them. They will. The diehard stick shift Ford guys that are almost more diehard stick shift than they are Ford brand, they're coming over to our ship, almost guaranteed. And Chevy guys, I don't think they even know how to drive stick, so never mind on that. So that's the thing, is they're gonna sell. Guys want them. It's not lazy. Look at all these muscle cars, stick shift all over the place. The last 15 years, they've sold them like hotcakes. Stick shift muscle cars. So let's talk about the gearbox itself. Well, there would have to be a little bit of design, and Ram would have to team up with either ZF, because remember, ZF also makes stick shift transmissions. The ZF5, the ZF6 were found in Ford Power Strokes. Even, yes, Chevrolet did use a stick shift for a while behind the Duramax diesel, and it was the ZF6 in the early days of the Duramax. ZF knows stick shifts extremely well. They could be a possibility. Of course, there's Eaton Fuller. They make all kinds of stuff. Now, what I found, what is the magic number on gears? I think it's 7. 7 gears, I think, is the magic number for a new stick shift transmission. Here's why. Well, yeah, but that's not 8, that's not 10. How's that supposed to compete? Well, there's a balance there on, you can't put a 10-speed stick because it's going to be too much shifting. Guys are not going to want to shift that many times, I believe anyway. 8-speed, maybe, okay, that might be a viable number, but I think 7 speeds is the magic number. You haven't seen it, it's going to be new, it's going to catch your eye, you're going to be interested in what is this 7 speed. I don't think a lack of a gear or two or whatever over an automatic is really going to discredit a new stout stick shift transmission. The other thing is, the reason why I say 7-speed is because 7-speed is very common in the medium duty class, the true medium duty. Eaton Fuller makes a Road Ranger 7-speed that is non-synchronized, so that's probably not going to be an option. But Tremec, I found Tremec and Spicer, they appear to look like the same transmission. I'm not going to speculate if it is the same, but Spicer shows a 7-speed. Tremec, which I'm going to put up that right now, Tremec shows a nice 7-speed synchronized medium duty transmission. Now, there are a couple things. Again, this is where Ram would have to get with a transmission manufacturer and probably spec one more to the specs that would work in a pickup. Obviously, as you can see, 6th gear is 1-to-1, 7th gear is overdrive. We're back to that. So there would have to be some changes there. 5th gear would need to be 1-to-1. 6th gear slightly overdriven. 7th gear deeply overdriven. That's probably extremely important. Now, the torque number was a little bit low. Now, medium duty stuff, just like chassis cab trucks, they can be derated. That transmission can probably handle quite a bit more torque than that rating there on their list. But that would be important. Obviously, power handling. And have to figure out the clutch situation. Obviously, stepping up the clutch and maybe a little bit bigger diameter, just as we saw from the NV4500 from decades ago when they stepped up to the 5600. We saw an increase in the diameter of the clutch. There could definitely be some trickery there to get a good clutch that holds the power and works. So, if you had that ratio where you had a deep 7th, a slightly overdriven 6th gear, and a 1-to-1 5th gear, that would be perfect. You could, obviously you would skip first if you're not towing, take off in 2nd like normal, run through the gears, and then you could just quickly jump from 5th straight to 7th, and if you're jumping onto the freeway, It would be an easy setup for 7 gears, and I think that would be a winner, an absolute winner. You know, I'll give you an example of where Ram has gone wrong in the past. I'm actually looking for a truck to replace the old F Super Duty that's my service truck. And I want a Ram 4500, 5500. Now, I am not in the market for a new truck. Unfortunately, it's not in my pocketbook. And also, I don't put very many miles on this truck, so a new truck doesn't even necessarily make sense. I'm looking for a 4th gen, but where I'm going to bring this around is we've got, my choices are the G56 or the ASIN, right? And because of the gear ratio differences between those two transmissions, because I'll take either or, whatever. If I find the right truck, it's got a G56, cool with that. If it's an ASIN, I'm cool with that. Doesn't matter to me necessarily, but I will say, because of the handicap the G56 has in comparison to the ASIN on gear ratios up at the top end, it's almost like I would prefer a 410 ratio with the G56, but what I really want is the 444. The 444 is perfect with the ASIN in that class of a truck. Shoot, I even wish the 444 was available in the 3500 chassis cab, but that's a whole nother topic. So that's the thing, is because of the overdrive issue, it's like, man, kind of want 410s with the G56, but the flip side is I wish I had 444s because there's a lot of stop and go driving that I do, and that would be the better setup. So going into 2025, 2026, Ram, I really think that they should give a serious consideration of bringing back the manual transmission. Guys want them. Guys will buy them, but only if it's like the good old days, where it's not only does it compete with the automatic, it's even maybe better. And I'm not even asking for the stick shift to be better, because hey, the thing is, I mean, I was tough on the ASIN in that video about the power line, but the ASIN has proven to be a strong, stout transmission. It really is. With its quirks set aside, it has proven to be stout. That's the thing. It's a great towing transmission. So I'm not even asking for the stick shift to be better. I mean, the 8-speed power shift, what I'm looking for is something that matches the 8-speed power shift. Put those two transmissions side by side. HO Cummins option. The big, we're going to see probably 1,100 foot-pounds of torque. I imagine 425 horsepower. Who knows exactly, right, what these numbers are going to be. But Ram is now going to a single transmission, right? Like Chevy does, like Ford does. So all three of them are going to be same. Be different. Ram has a chance to be different. Come out with and advertise it hard. Is somehow the ultimate in heavy dutiness, the ultimate in heavy towing, that sort of thing. You've got this 7-speed, or even it needs to be an 8-speed, whatever. Synchronized transmission paired up next to this power line is the ultimate in heavy duty. You've got room for it now because you're only running with one automatic. Do something different than Ford and Chevy. That will help bring the Ford and Chevy guys over to Ram with this uniqueness of this heavy duty advertised stout manual transmission. And guys will buy them. I hope you enjoyed this video. I mean, we're talking about, you know, possibilities, that sort of thing, where the 8-speed power line, that's fact, that is coming. But hey, I hope you enjoyed this video. I know, just like me, there's a lot and way more. There's guys out there that are way more stick shift diehards than I am. Comment, tell me what you think about that. Would you buy it? Would you buy a stout 7-speed synchronized behind a 5th gen or 6th gen? Tell me in the comments below. Did I nail it? What am I missing here? No, it'll be a total flop. It's a waste of time. Everybody wants a 2-pedal truck, but I don't believe that. Hey, hit the subscribe button. See you on the next one.